Hello there and welcome back to another video, and this is Liverpool versus Leeds. Liverpool 3, Leeds United 0. In what was a good performance for Liverpool, but we need to get into some stuff straight away first of all. Now, give me your thoughts in the comment section below. Was it a red card for that foul on Harvey Elliott, or was it not? We're going to come back to that one in just a second as well. Please do let me know what you think of that in the game yesterday, and also just give me your thoughts just in general, how you felt about the game, how you felt Liverpool did, what could we have done better, but what we also did well. But the only thing that annoyed me properly, there was two things that annoyed me. Obviously the injury with Harvey Elliott, that was annoying as well, but it was the chants that were chanted by Leeds United fans, which was the classic one that gets levelled at Liverpool and Liverpool fans and such like that, which was the "always the victim" chant that was chanted by Leeds as well. If you watch Match of the Day, you won't hear it on there because you can't. I don't know if they muted it or whatever, but if you were watching the live broadcast, which even I wasn't watching it on Sky, I was watching it off another stream, and you could hear it clear as day. It's just not. I've never ever been one of those types of football fans that would chant something like that. Like if you know, when people would chant stuff about Hillsborough or the Munich air disaster or anything else like that, I've never been someone that engages in that type of stuff, and I never will be. And I will always look down upon people that do that. Generally, people that I know personally that are Leeds fans, because I used to go to Leeds Metropolitan University, which I think is Leeds Beckett now. I used to go there. I lived there for like 4 years, and everybody that I met was a very genuine, nice person. So I can only assume that this is going to be a minority, but the minority have made Leeds United look like mugs, essentially, without going explicit on it. And I really wasn't a fan of that whatsoever. I don't think anybody would be either. And it's just not something I want to see engaged in by anybody. It's just not something. I will give you the honest truth. Like, when I looked at Leeds coming into the Premier League, and I saw them play last year and how they came at us and they played against us. They really took it to a lot of teams, beat some teams you wouldn't expect. Leeds sort of became that sort of second team that I was sort of like kind of behind because of the way they played football and everything like that. And it just took a bit of a shine off me. And it's not the players' fault. It really isn't. It's not the players' fault. It's wrong to say that it is. And it just takes a bit of the shine off it when I look at Leeds and stuff now, to the point where I'm a bit like, you know what, I don't actually think I want to watch when you play other teams and stuff like that. So that was really just not on, and I really hope that sort of stuff gets squashed out, and whatever. I really do. I hope that people are as vocal about that as they are about the chant that Liverpool fans do to Chelsea fans. Everyone knows which one they're talking about, and I'm not going to quote it. Everyone speaks out about that one. It gets coverage on Sky Sports and gets coverage on other sports networks and stuff like that. It needs to be brought to light when other fans are doing it, about the tragedies that we've had, about tragedies that Manchester United have had, and other clubs as well. That's all I'm going to say on that as well. It was just something that is just sat on my mind as well. The second thing, obviously, it's Harvey Elliott's injury. 18 years old. And this lad has took to Liverpool, coming from Blackburn on loan, where he'd done really, really well. He had done really, really well. I think he was one of their most creative players, if not the most creative players. And he came into Liverpool, a difficult team for other people to break into, and he's getting into our midfield. He's alongside Fabinho and Thiago yesterday. He was what I felt against Chelsea, he was our best player, in my opinion, for everything he was doing on the ball and off the ball. To suffer an injury like that, it's just gutting, because you just felt he was really starting to kick things into gear. You could just see it from the way he played. Everything was for the team thinking and forward thinking as well. And chances that he had, passes that he's had as well at him, or passes that he makes. It's just the inventiveness of the guy, the energy of the guy, how dynamic he is on the pitch. It's a wonderful thing to see. And it's a shame that we're probably not going to see it for at least a long time. Apparently he'll still play again at some point this season, but it's going to be a long time. It could be February, March, maybe even a little bit later, depending on how the recovery goes. So really, we love the guy. He's been fantastic, and that's what we want to see, is just people coming in and making an impact and making an impression, a lasting impression as well. And I've no doubt that he'll do it again. I really do think he'll do it again. But I really do wish Harvey Elliott a speedy recovery, because he's a brilliant player to watch. And we've got loads of brilliant players to watch, but he's one of those that you just look at and think, if you have someone like that at that level already at 18 years old, imagine when you get to see the growth and development of the guy, similar to what we saw with Trent Alexander-Arnold, and what we will see with Curtis Jones and stuff as well. So really speedy recovery to him. Now we'll get into the game. Honestly, we could have won that game 7 or 8-0. And that's not an exaggeration. That's not being egotistical or anything like that. But when you have 30 shots in a game, it says more about Leeds in a way than it does about Liverpool in some ways as well. Leeds, if you allow them to attack, that's where they flourish. That's where you really start to see that aggressive murder ball tactics come to life of Marcelo Bielsa. But when they come up against a team where you've got two teams that are going to press, they're going to press the life out of each other. So if two teams are going to press the life out of each other, what is going to be the difference between them? It's going to be the quality level. So the quality level will start to shine through. And if two teams are going for it and they're attacking each other really, really harshly, or they're pressing each other, they're trying to get each other on the counter attack, but then eventually this quality over here will start to come over the team that you're coming over against. And that is essentially what happened throughout this game. If you were to look at it in purely just stats, possessions, it's quite equal. I think when you boil it down, it's 56% to Liverpool, 44% to Leeds over the entire 90 minutes. However, Leeds started really, really well. And if they'd have actually taken their chances with some good goalkeeping from Alisson as well, and some good defending as well in places, we were not fortunate. We worked for our defending. We worked really well to do it. They had chances. They tried to come out of the blocks really, really quickly, and they didn't take those chances. If they took even one of them, then the energy levels of Leeds would have risen to, especially with Elland Road full as well. The energy levels would have risen through the roof. I have no doubt about it. But then we were able to impose ourselves as well. And it was very, very good from us as well. Before I go any further, I will go through the starting lineup that we put together as well. Thankfully, we were able to start our Brazilian contingent. Obviously, Firmino missed out in this game because he was injured anyway. But we were able to start both Alisson and Fabinho. Fabinho will come on to a little bit later as well. But magnificent performance as well. We had Trent Alexander-Arnold, Joel Matip, Virgil van Dijk and Andy Robertson as the back line. In the midfield, as I said before, it was Harvey Elliott, Thiago and Fabinho. Later on, Harvey Elliott obviously went off and Jordan Henderson came in as well. So not a bad swap in terms of quality. You're getting different elements. Obviously from Jordan Henderson, doesn't possess the same qualities and characteristics that Harvey Elliott does, but he's the captain of the team. He's got that leadership, drive, energy, tenacity as well. And then in the front line, we had Salah, Jota and Sadio Mane. Now, we'll come on to Mane as well a little bit later on, because, my God, we had 30 shots and I'm pretty sure 28 of them were Sadio Mane. I'm only joking, but I'm so happy for him to have at least scored a goal at this point. You could literally see it ooze out of him when it happened, but his was the final goal. So, what we're going to look at here as well is the build-up for Salah's goal. Salah's 100th goal in 162 games or 163 games. He's 5th fastest to 100 goals in the Premier League. Just only behind, Thierry Henry, Aguero. I can't remember the second one. And then Alan Shearer as well, who got it the fastest. Unbelievable from Salah, and just incredible numbers from him in general. But the build-up to that play all came from Joel Matip, striding forward like the human giraffe that he is. And he strides through the midfield. He lays the ball off to Trent Alexander-Arnold, who does what Trent does. And he put an absolutely beautiful, fast pass along the ground into the path of Salah. And it was so quick. I don't know how footballers can think and react that quick. I don't get it, because I'm not actually a footballer. I'm not that athletic, I will be honest with you. Could I do what Salah does? No. So, just sticks his foot out, just like a putter on a golf club. Just sticks it, all he has to do. He's in the right position. Trent gives him this beautiful delivery, and all he has to do, just take his foot and just do that. Just do that. Just like that. And he did. It bang, went in the back of the net. Unbelievable. When Sadio Mane tried to do it, he burst it over the bar. I'm not ragging on Sadio Mane for anything else other than he's just a wonderful man, and he's been going through what seems to be a tough patch on the pitch as well. A lot of criticism has been levelled at Sadio Mane. Some of it just, some of it very unjust, especially when it comes to, you know, people with their high energy sort of criticisms of him, shall I say. I don't want to say abuse. But yeah, we get on to Fabinho's goal as well. Beautiful delivery into the box. Virgil van Dijk manages to get him. You cannot give someone with the presence and the athletic aerial ability of Virgil van Dijk, you cannot give him space. You cannot give him space, especially when a corner's coming in, especially when a set piece is coming in. You can't give the man space, and he had all the space in the world. If you watch the replays back and you look at Van Dijk's face, the man couldn't have been calmer if he wanted to. He's just calm. He's striding forward, nods the ball down. I don't know how he's not got an assist for it. Maybe it's because the initial sort of shot off Fabinho came back off a Leeds player, and then he just buried it. Fabinho in the back of the net. Incredible scenes. What a player. What a player Fabinho is. Unreal. And then finally, 92nd minute, Sadio Mane puts it in the back of the net, and he hits it with some venom. He gets it, he turns, takes the ball, turns, and he fires it in the back of the net like he meant it, and you just see him slide on the floor. Normally Sadio Mane's celebrations can be a little bit subdued, like he's a bit like sort of in himself. He's just like, all right, awesome, scored a goal, ace. Apart from when he was doing that celebration for that fan, which was that whole like kissing and to the air and stuff, that was quite cool, that was nice. But normally he's quite subdued. He'll just like sort of celebrate, maybe copy a Firmino celebration every now and again. But he meant this one, and he was proper up for it, and he was absolutely buzzing to score for Liverpool in the last dying minutes of this game as well. And I've got to say, for Liverpool, the only criticisms that I've got is that we should have scored more. In what I feel, it's great that we are level with the teams that are at the top, first, second and third. We are level in terms of goal difference. I think who sits top at the moment. So it's United on top at the moment, but we are all on +8. So apart from Man City, they're +10, but they lost the first game of the season. At the moment, we've all, United, Chelsea and Liverpool, we've played 4, we've won 3, drew 1. All on 10 points, all on +8 goal difference. I think United I think they've scored more than everybody else. So I think that's why they're above everyone else. It's great that we're keeping pace. It really is. But especially like when you see Man City lost their first game of the season, but they've won their consecutive 3 since then and have scored. They had 2 games where they were back-to-back 5-0s, and they won 1-0 against Leicester, I think, on Saturday. So when you've got high-scoring teams already, because the drop-off is big after then, so you've got us 3 teams, all on +8, Man City on +10, and then you've got Brighton +2 in 5th, 0 for Tottenham, like in terms of goal difference, they're just level. And then it's +5, +4 for West Ham, Everton, and then it drops off a little bit further then. For me, this title race, it's so weird. If you were someone that grew up in the 90s, right, which I'm an 80s child, but I'm a late 80s child, right, and I was watching football through the 90s and stuff like that, where you saw titles being won, but not like they're won these days. Take out last season, but like look at like the seasons that Man City have won under Guardiola, Liverpool as well when we won, and we got such big points tallies, and like you can barely lose 2 to 3 games anymore, whereas it was commonplace back in the 90s, early 2000s and stuff like that to, you know, you lose 4 or 5 or 6 games. That's sort of like your limit, but you lose like 2 or 3 games and it's like you're out the title race. And then you've got to look at things like goal difference. We really could have punished Leeds badly. And a 3-0 scoreline is nothing to just, be carefree about. It's nothing just to throw away or anything like that. A 3-0 scoreline is brilliant. It's absolutely fantastic. But we could have done, to Leeds what we did to Palace last year. We absolutely could have done that. That Leeds defence, I do like Marcelo Bielsa for what he brings to Leeds in an attacking sense. But when when are the criticisms going to be levelled at Marcelo Bielsa and the way his coaching setup do defensive work? Because it is almost like it's a bit of a free for all that they're relying on the brilliance of a young goalkeeper in Melier to pull. And he's not the best goalkeeper of all time. He's a good goalkeeper. He's still very young, but you're relying a lot on the qualities of a goalkeeper that is still very much developing, learning, growing as well. And he will grow in stature as well. And then that defence, whether it's a makeshift defence or not, or you lose someone to a red card or whatever it might be, or you're losing them to injuries, I don't really have sympathy for it because no one had sympathy for us last season when we had all of our major defensive injuries. It just looks random. It looks like the defence doesn't know what it's doing because they don't have the ball. I think Leeds have gotten a little bit too into we attack and that is all we do. We will attack, we're going to attack everybody and blah, blah, all that sort of stuff. It's like, yeah, that's great, but you don't necessarily have the qualities to pull that off against the big teams this season. If I go and look at Leeds at the moment, they are just above the relegation zone in 17th position. They played 4 games on -7 goal difference with only 2 points so far. So they've drawn 2 games, lost the others. It's not looking great. It's not looking like they're going to be very, very competitive. And I just want to have a look at who their games were against. They lost against Manchester United. They have drawn against Everton, drawn against Burnley, and lost against us, Liverpool, as well. And then, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything to do with their pre-season, because in their pre-season, from what I can see here of 4 games, they lost 3 and drew 1. It doesn't paint the best picture for Leeds going forward. And whether it is just a personnel thing, whether it is just, are they waiting for players to come back? And those players that are coming back, are they going to be of a high enough quality level to actually elevate Leeds to stay in the league this year? Because they fought for so long to get back into the Premier League, get back into the top flight. To stay in it for a season and then go back down, that surely cannot be acceptable for Leeds. They cannot be willing to accept that. So when does the buck finally stop with Bielsa? Because as respectful as everybody can be and how his methods inspired Pep Guardiola and all that sort of stuff, eventually, if you're not winning games and you're losing games, you're drawing games and you're not defending well, you're conceding goals left, right and centre by the looks of it as well. And it's regardless of the quality of opposition that you're coming up against when you look at Man United and you look at Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea. Eventually, people start looking around saying, we need to be able to turn this around. And is this manager going to be, not too stubborn where he can actually adapt his ideas, or is he literally willing to fall on his sword and possibly risk taking Leeds down? I don't know. I'm just happy for Liverpool. So I'm happy for Liverpool, gutted for Harvey Elliott, and I really do hope he manages as quick as possible a recovery it can be. And on the last note as well of this video, was it a red card? No. It wasn't a red card in my opinion. When you go back and watch the footage, go back and watch that incident and try and take your bias out of it, which is what I've tried to do, and I feel that I've done it quite well, in that I didn't think it was a red card because it just looked like it was a trailing leg tackle. I can understand some people's argument as well. It does look like he elevates and he's slightly off the ground as well, and whether VAR would pull that back or not anyway. But the referee didn't give a foul in the first instance and only stopped the play when Salah was frantically screaming towards the touchline, and the referee stopped the play. And then it looked like the referee literally gave the red card for the injury, not the actual incident itself. And from what I understood, I didn't think, or I don't think that was something that you can give a red card for accurately. I might be wrong on that one, but let me know what you think in the comments below. That's just my thoughts. I'm expecting that red card to get rescinded for Leeds as well, because I think like the comparisons were made for Son versus Gomez, Tottenham versus Everton, and I think Son's did get taken back. His red card was rescinded. So we'll see what happens in that respect anyway. But I'm going to get out of here for now. We have a Champions League game on Wednesday, AC Milan. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there, because we've got a tough group and we need to start on fire. Will we see the likes of Ibrahima Konate and some other players get involved as well? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you ever so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please do like it and subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you once again. Do take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you later.